The 30-day period for the government to file a review petition on the Supreme Court's 2G order ends on Friday. With just 2 days to go, top policymakers have decided to file a limited review and a clarificatory petition. In an exclusive chat with ETNow, Law Minister SC Khurshid talks about the government's next course of action, the bilateral investment treaties that global telecom companies are using to protect their investment in India, and the whole ambiguity over the first-come, first-served policy.
It will be important to get some clarifications because the time window given to us for fresh auctions is a very narrow window. Our past experience of 3G auctions required 600 days. So despite all alacrity and working the midnight oil, we will probably need to make an adjustment in the schedule, which of course would require not from the Supreme Court. There are other issues, of course, that may be raised by private parties, both by way of review or by applications. We'll just have to wait and see because we would be by virtually respondents therein. There may be some clarifications or review issues that will have to be filed within 30 days. Beyond that, are we looking at a larger picture? Are we looking at something that would require a larger bench of the Supreme Court, etc.? These are issues that are still being mulled over. And of course, least of all, I think, but very significant, is the matter of investment climate in our country. If we have to re-engineer some of our systems, we must do them, but investment climate must not be adversely affected. There's a lot of Supreme Court judgments that have tried to distinguish areas where the demand and supply requires auctions and where demand and supply would not entail auctions. Of course, those will have to be examined at some stage. Would we just leave them to be examined when an appropriate case arises, or should we take the bull by the horns and urge and request the court to examine it in totality at a time when there isn't pressure of taking a decision quickly? I think all these decisions will have to be taken very soon. We have political, long-term political associations with parties, with countries with whom we've signed treaties as well. We have to keep that in mind. Treaties here are not, strictly speaking, part of legislation, and therefore courts don't necessarily have to look at them. But obviously, in the larger context, the courts would look at treaties as well and decide matters in the context of treaties that we enter. As far as international obligations are concerned, we have no option but to say we are bound. There are many areas that could be described as gray areas of international law, and they have to be factored into our domestic law. But should it be done by legislation? Should it be done by executive fiat, or it should be done by judicial pronouncements? These are matters that we'll have to examine.